Hello, it's the Abstractionist. I'm here with Neptune's winter reading. So this is for people who have significant Neptune placements, conjunctions, oppositions, whatever. Likewise, if you have Pisces in your chart, you may find this useful to you. I was going to say youthful. That's not really right. I'm using the Good Tarot and Crystal Tarot. So let's see. So you have 5 of Fire, 5 of Wands, the Tower. What is this? The Knave of Chalices. So the Page of Cups. And then we have the High Priestess with Temperance. So going through these portals as going through the High Priestess portal as the Temperance, going through the 5 of Fire, 5 of Wands portal as the Knight of Cups and the Tower. So there is a lot of destruction that is coming through. Okay, destroying the psyche so that you can survive. So so quick note, I'm coming off of a Harry Potter marathon. And I watched Deathly Hallows and part 1 and 2. So it kind of reminds me of the Room of Requirement scene, but with this fire and the diadem. But when it comes to this, there's some sort of destruction of the mind or of illusions regarding it's not mental health, but mental capacity, or working through those issues that would be like, it's almost like being branded a word and all of its conceptualizations and meanings, abstract and feelings and societal repercussions, and working through that. So someone could have been labeled something that was quite disruptive or disturbing, and with this High Priestess and this Temperance, you've actually taken it to heart. So you've been labeled as something. It could be something quite negative, and it's been taken to heart, and you've almost decided to play a role. And with this not Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups, like Prince of Cups, the Page of Cups, there is it's not a desire to fill the role, but it's self-fulfilling prophecy that comes through. I think that there's a point in time where you are going to realize you may have a word that you energetically avoid. You could even not use it, right? So but you're used to the word energetically, you just don't use it. It's an unspoken thing that you don't like this word, and it's because it causes painful memories. It could be any word. There's gonna come a point where you're gonna take up a new word, and it's gonna be one that is a positive reinforcement, but that word may be said and it may trigger you to move forward and reassess your mental thinking. So this would be what are those things, like CRT or something like that, where you have to go through and linguistically kind of uproot a lot of the words that have been told to you, or things like that. Work through your mental framework of what's been presented to you as who you are linguistically, and how you mold yourself to fit that word linguistically, and what its outcomes are and things like that. You essentially build the world that word represents. And there's just an event that's coming up that's going to force you to reevaluate the world with this tower that you have built, based on what that person said. A lot of people in the winter, it seems like, are really deprogramming as we transition to 2023 and as we like move into like newness, because Pluto is going into Aquarius, and so a lot of things about the mind are gonna come up, even though Pluto is not necessarily the mind, but because it's in an air sign, it's gonna represent mental mentality, things like that. For some of you guys, it could be that like you have like a disability, like you have some sort of disability, or you're neurodivergent or something like that, and you're like adjusting to that kind of diagnosis and where you go. You have the Ace of Earth and the Nine of Wands. It's affecting your ability to manifest in the material world. It is hampering your ability to start over. I was just thinking about like, and this is like a personal aside, but I was just thinking about like R&B. Like I like R&B, but I tend to listen to like newer variations and expressions of R&B, and I don't argue with my friend, but she knows that like R&B to me is a very R&B, and the people who listen to R&B is a very like non-progressive genre in some ways, because people always pinpoint a point in time that they're always trying to go back to. And I mean, every genre can kind of be like this, but I find R&B particularly, people like always want to like be reminiscent of this time, and it's like really like you're stuck there. And I have a lot of gripes with that, because it puts people in a box, and the people that want to go outside of that box, they tend to not get the support like financially, or their careers just don't pop off, like they end up being more underground or something like that. And they're not as well presented or supported like by labels and stuff like that, so they end up having to go independent. That leads back to this reading, in that there's some box, and this is so crazy because this is like the 8th reading I've done, and like the theme of starting over and making sure that you are really assessing your mentality is it's just really, really prominent. During the wintertime, you may be focused on money. You may have to spend money. I would make sure, on a more practical tip, make sure that you don't give your credit card to people who for some reason I just like can't be trusted, or like it's almost like you give them your card, they go and order something, and then like the information is like visible to other people, and then you end up with like identity theft. So I would work to like avoid that. And then this may be kind of robotic, processing things. You may find a really interesting book during this season, this winter season, that like, I don't know, it puts you in a beginner's mind. I was gonna say meta mind. It puts you in a beginner's mind, and it could become a very meta conversation within oneself of self-realization, self-actualization. You may, when I was talking about genres, bring that in. You may shift genres of music, books, media that you consume. You may be bored with it, but you may also find that other genres offer something to you, offer the beginning of questioning your existing world and getting out of your comfort zone. And it's you getting out of your comfort zone. It's you determining where you're going. It's you making that effort. It's not someone suggesting it. Even if it's like the algorithm or whatever. You know, the algorithm if you think about it, kind of works sort of like manifestation. It's man-made, but it sort of works like that. Like if you constantly think negativity, of course negativity comes into you, right? Same with algorithm. If you keep liking or saving certain things, messages, you tend to get suggested more of it. And so working like that, you may want to explore technology in human. That's going to be an issue that comes up in Pluto and Aquarius, how much the human body functions as a technological device. Like I'm thinking of a video of a guy who was a car mechanic and became a doctor, and the parallels between the two really would have been to his benefit, because he could see how compartmentalized each part of the car can be, but that it also is a composite whole, which is the same thing for the human body, right? There's different organ systems, but then they all are composed and build up to this thing we call a human body. So there's that. So you may want to watch the Uranus reading. You may also want to watch the Mars one, but with this star card that came out, you might want to watch Uranus, or you may want to explore what Pluto and Aquarius will mean for you. The Empress, the Star, and then the Nine of Swords, the Four of Water. I think if you spend a lot of time, like with this Nine of Swords and this Four of Water, you could spend a lot of time like thinking about the past a lot, which is something I try not to do. I'm trying to run from my past, bitch. It really like can weigh on you, and so making sure you're clearing your mind a lot. You may need to like be around water or go swimming if you have the capacity to. Get in water, jacuzzi, whatever. I don't give a shit. Like I don't know. Like however it works. You could also just listen to water. Energetically, like having to cleanse away like those thoughts. And also with this Four of Water, it feels like you have to like do some subconscious work. So I guess like working with like affirmations, or like working with like a therapist that specializes in like reprogramming, like linguistic reprogramming. I think that's CRT or something like that. That would be really helpful. In Aquarius season, things may start to look up. You may start to, it's almost like there's a new identity forming. I don't know, maybe you like change your name, or like you decide to go by your real name or something like that. Like, I don't know. There's like interesting stuff with that, but you're coming into your own, you're reevaluating, and you're willing to kind of like put yourself out there, breaking away from like what people have said. With this star card, it could have been that people were also trying to like bring you down to their level. Classic case of like envy and jealousy. Classic. And that they also saw something in you that like was very with this Neptune, very ethereal, very like timeless, and like in breaking you down, it's kind of like they kept you stuck. So like you're limitless and you're timeless, and you're in this great galactic cosmic quantum looping that you can flourish in all these timelines and all these dimensions. But by reducing you down, you get stuck in one dimension and you get stuck in one time period, and they knew that subconsciously, and because they were stuck, it was easier to bring you down. So I would work through this. January may be hard, February may be easier, By March, you'll probably be in full swing, but then we're getting into spring, and so there'll be another reading about this. Well, maybe not about this specifically. But by spring, things will probably be looking up for you. You'll have some sort of newness that's going on. And the North Node goes into Aries, I think, around that time. Pluto goes into Aquarius about that time. So there's going to be a lot of changes. And I think you'll just kind of, with that Tower and that Page of Cups, realize that what people have said is not true. But you have to learn that for yourself through experience, that what they said is not true. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Neptune. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.